Welcome back, you guys. Guess what? We're talking beer, one of my favorite subjects. And Irene Fermat is with us from Full Sail Brewery, the CEO and co-founder. And Irene, I wanted to ask you about when you guys first started, you weren't actually bottling. You were just doing kegs for like the first year or something.
Well, actually for the first few months, our business plan always was about bottling beer. It's where we thought there was a market niche because there were all these small breweries, well all, maybe 10 of us, cropping up right then, and everybody was draft. And so we thought, well, people want to take a six-pack and go to go to a party, way easier than lugging a keg.
Right.
So we thought this is a great idea. Nobody really had been doing that at that scale, so we were kind of experimenting quite a bit, and people were rather skeptical that breweries our size could do it and do it well. And so that was the challenge for us.
Well, when you guys first started actually doing the bottling, your bottling line was set up actually for bottling wine?
Well, we didn't have a lot of money, so we made a decision to buy this Italian still wine bottling line, which seems really like a bad idea when you realize beer is carbonated, and this is supremely manual. And basically, we used to play opera and just beg for mercy every time we turned the machine on. It was pretty difficult, and eventually we were able to work our way up to a more appropriate bottling line for beer. And now we have the bottling line that we have, which is absolutely state of the art, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I've seen it operate. It's pretty impressive.
It's pretty cool, yeah. I like seeing all that stuff. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So you guys brew by hand. What does that mean?
Well, if you come to our brewery, you see it's a particular scale, so it isn't like the kind of I Love Lucy stomp the grapes bit, but it is about that we make a decision, and part of the culture of our company is we think people matter. So where some other breweries can decide a computer is going to make certain decisions about the process, we make sure that a brewer has his hands on in the process at those points.
Okay.
Turning a valve, putting in the hops, that we really want that engagement. Because brewing is an art and a science, and we want people who work to feel that when they come to work.
Right. Well, what is Full Sail? I mean, being employee-owned.
Yes. And
obviously, you mentioned you're passionate about your people, just like you are your product, and you believe that your people are what help make your product. Tell me about the employee-owned aspect of your company and what the significance of that is.
Well, it's such a big deal to us because back in 1998, some of the original investors wanted to cash out. And the option that they chose was to put the company up for sale. And really, when people buy breweries, what they do is buy a brand, and they close the brewery down. And for Jamie, our brewmaster, who's also my husband, and I, really, these were people we had worked side by side with. You know, we had so little money in the beginning that the sweat equity really was all of us, that group of people from the beginning. And we just couldn't walk away from it and leave them with nothing. And when you're in a town the size of Hood River, too, there's a sense of commitment that you have about, you know, our employees have families and are intertwined with the community. And so we used the employee ownership as a means of competing in that bidding process, and actually we won out, and so that's how Full Sail became employee owned.
Okay. Yeah. So it wasn't just about yours and your husband's well-being. You had a really vested interest in the other people that you were working with and that worked for you.
Well, we did, because they also had it for us. You know, one of the remarkable things about starting your own company is you have a dream, and then all of a sudden that dream expands and other people make it happen together, and it becomes their dream too. And I think that really is a partnership that we have with those people. We could not have just walked away.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool that you recognize that, because a lot of people don't. Well, you guys have a mantra.
Yes.
And you know it by heart.
I don't know it by heart, but I can definitely read it.
All right. Well, hey, it works for me.
And I love this because it really distills down who we are at Full Sail. So,
perfect.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that not all beers are created equal, and neither are the breweries that create them. That we, the 47 employee owners of Full Sail Brewing Company, proudly proclaim ourselves to be independent. That to be independent is to be free. Free to live a life less ordinary, somewhere extraordinary, where the sirens are sounded by blue jays and the skyscrapers have names like Hood, Adams, and St. Helens. Free to measure our life not in dollars and cents, but in waves carved and powder runs tracked, in music made and meals shared, in pint glasses lifted and bonfires burned. Free to pursue the perfect balance between work and play, art and commerce, inspiration and perspiration. Free to amp up the creativity and craftsmanship of everything we do, no matter how big, no matter how small. free to make everything we do not just good, but insanely great.
I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah.
First time we read it out at a company meeting, our people had tears in their eyes.
I'm sure.
And we thought, well, we hit that right. And in a way, it
Absolutely.
distills our core values and what we really want out of our lives and out of the company.
Great. Well, Irene, thank you so much. We're out of time for this segment. We're going to come back and actually get to talk with your husband,
yes,
the brewmaster. And so looking forward to that. Really appreciate your time. Thanks
Thank
again
you.
for coming on.
Thank you.
So you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Jamie, who is the brewmaster at Full Sail. And obviously, we're talking beer. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we're back with local musician Rick Hewitt, and we're hearing this really interesting story about a realization, almost a dual world experience, being very present in the present, but also seeing and experiencing a whole nother world at the same time. And where we left off was you talking about the challenges. And so just to kind of bring us right back up to that point, do that and then tell us the rest.
So I became aware of this light, and I was aware that it was an intelligence. And the only way I can describe it is that a thought was transmitted to me from that light. And the thought was that I had been issued a challenge, that this cancer that I had was a challenge. And it wasn't a challenge just for me, it was a challenge for basically everyone I knew, that we all were going to have to respond to this.
Not a death sentence.
Not a death sentence, a challenge.
Yeah.
And that what was important was how I responded to the challenge. And that in fact, the way the universe evolves, the way it moves forward, is through challenges. Earthquakes, fires, natural disasters, they're challenges.
Right.
It's how we respond to them that's important. And then I had the strangest realization that this light, this intelligence, was me. It was me talking to myself, and I understood that throughout the universe, the key thing to all of us, to every piece of matter, is consciousness. And that consciousness is what's deep within our essence. You and I are the same person, essentially. Everyone that we know, everyone you've known at our essence are the same person. We're one thing moving forward.
Do you think at some level, definitely at a subconscious level, you've reacted or conducted yourself with that in your mind and just haven't really known it until that point? Or do you think it wasn't until that point?
It was the difference
really
between having someone described what swimming in a river is like and swimming in a river. You know, you can hear about it, you can have the description, but it's completely different from doing it.
Okay.
And I was in this. I was this.
Right.
You know, it was. You know, and honestly, I didn't know that I was going to tell you this until I told you.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to tell us
I know you
either.
didn't. I debated it. I thought, you know, this seems insane. This seems crazy. This is like a guy being abducted by a UFO, and it was that level of impact to me, and still is. But I just, on the way down here, I thought, I think I have to tell this.
Well, it sounds like it's dramatically impacted your life.
Absolutely.
And your perception of life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, how did that, from that realization, how did that play into your cancer and your treatment?
You know, it became the overriding issue. After that, to kind of make the details of it a little shorter, I found a doctor in Washington, D.C., who not only treated this kind of cancer, claims to be able to cure it. He'd done 1,800 operations for this cancer.
And real quick again, what exactly was the cancer?
Okay, the cancer is called pseudomyxoma peritonei, which is a long-winded way of saying appendix cancer.
Okay.
And the way it works, your appendix actually secretes like a mucus, and that mucus became malignant and multiplied and filled my abdomen with this jelly-like substance. And if you let it go, it eventually just crowds out all your other organs and you die. So I went back on my birthday, July 9th, 2009, and had a 15-hour operation. They removed my gallbladder, my spleen, my appendix, my omentum, my peritoneum, 4 feet of large intestine, my sigmoid colon, part of my lymph nodes, part of my diaphragm, and then I spent a month in the hospital flat on my back with 13 tubes coming out of me. It was just the most incredible experience.
How are you feeling at that point?
I tell you, I was determined that I was going to go and have an experience that was really above all this. Not a chance. Not a chance. I was lost and confused. I was under the influence of so many drugs that I was pretty much confused the whole time. But I knew that the secret was to get up and get out of that bed. So as soon as they would let me, I just willed myself off the bed. You know, and I had 13 tubes, a couple of big poles with all kinds of IVs and stuff. It took 3 people. And I would get up and walk down the hall.
Wow.
You know, maybe at first it's 5 steps and I had to go back. And then the next day it's 6. You know, it was just a slow, tortuous process. And slowly but surely I became stronger. And as I got stronger, I got this feeling of joy. Just incredible joy. I am alive, you know, and it's stuck with me. Every day I wake up and say, I am alive.
Yeah.
You know? It's the most incredible thing.
Yeah.
And you think about it, it's the most incredible thing that any of us are alive, you know?
And so you've, in many senses, I mean, you've got a new lease on life,
Absolutely.
Obviously, and you've had like a second chance.
Yeah.
And I mean, your eyes tell the story.
Yeah.
You
it's real. It's a real thing. You know, it's a real thing that happened to me.
Yeah. And do you ever reflect on? I'm always interested in people who've had experiences. Obviously, they're all unique to the individual, but like, you know, an experience such as yours where it really changes your life. Do you look back on the rest of your life up until that point and sort of go, man, if I would have known this then? Or do you just kind of, you're just so grateful for where you are now that the past just doesn't really matter?
The past doesn't really matter. You know, I think I did the best I could with the information I had. Just like all of us. That's what everybody's doing, the best they can, you know? And just things are different now, and I'm just thankful that I'm here and that I understand some things that I didn't understand before, you know? And I, you know, one of the reasons I haven't told anybody about some of this stuff is I don't want to come off as some kind of preacher, because, you know, at my heart, I'm a beer drinking redneck. You know, I am. I don't buy a lot of this stuff, you know, but it really did happen to me, and I cannot deny it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think it's pretty tough to deny that, you know, we're all spiritual beings, and that, you know, you had a spiritual experience. It sounds like, and it just really resonated with you.
Absolutely.
So it probably goes without saying it influenced your music.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know, I say totally. I don't know if anybody else notices, but I notice. You know, I'm still playing a lot of the same music, you know, doing the same things, but now it's like there's a deeper well I can draw from. I'm not always successful. Sometimes it works better than others, but that's what I'm after. I'm trying to get some mojo going when I play, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to just play anymore. I want something to happen.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to hear some of that in the next segment.
Great.
So,
Great.
Appreciate you coming on. Looking forward to hearing your music here in the next segment, and thanks for sharing that. You know, again, that wasn't exactly where I thought we were going, and I'm really glad you did. Though that was, I love hearing people's perspectives on life and people's life experiences, and that's what we were going to talk about, was your life experience. So I guess this is a big part of it.
It's the biggest event in my life, I think. So.
Yeah. All right, you guys. When we come back, Rick will play us some music. So don't go anywhere. Be right back.